From CJOH TV, CTV's news center in Ottawa, I'm Baden Langton. And Peter Jennings with this news special about Canada's fifth largest market, Ottawa and the Seaway Valley.
CJOH TV went on air 50 years ago today, and you welcomed us into your home for the first time. Good evening, I'm Michael O'Byrne. A lot has changed over the years. The people, the technology, even our name. We're now CTV Ottawa. But what hasn't changed is great storytelling and commitment to community. So come along as we take a journey through the life of a television station born half a century ago. The year 1961.
Come on, let's do this again, like we did last summer.
Chubby Checker had a generation moving like they never moved before.
Round and up and down we go again.
They say the only thing finer than a Waterford glass is the whiskey that goes in it.
The very colorful Charlotte Whitten is elected mayor of Ottawa.
To the artist,
John Diefenbaker is Prime Minister of Canada.
put in all the warts as well.
President Kennedy and Mrs. Kennedy have just arrived.
The capital plays host to a new president.
He will address both houses of the Canadian Parliament.
This is CJOH TV, Channel 13, serving Ottawa and the Seaway Valley.
I'm Ernie Bushnell with Channel 13.
And a new television station is born.
But all of us here want you to receive the best possible pictures.
That original broadcast came from inside this building at the corner of Bayswater and Somerset. This is the original home of CJOH TV. Today it houses medical offices. Back then it was part of the sprawling D. Kemp Edwards lumber yard. But for 6 months in 1961, it's where TV magic was made and stars were born. Bill, this is where it all began 50 years ago.
This is it. Bayswater and Somerset.
Bill Luxton was one of the first announcers hired to work at the new CJOH.
Very nostalgic. Very much. Yeah, a lot of memories.
We took him back to the building where it all began. His first visit in almost 50 years.
Things have changed.
I bet you. But this is the original studios of CJOH.
This is the basement of the building, and that's where the studio was located. We worked for 6 months here, from March the 12th, when we went on the air, until September. Then we moved into 1500 Merivale Road. I'm thinking back now, and I'm remembering the main door. We came downstairs, and then in this area, this big humming, huge video, 2-inch video machine. And that's what we had. That was the source of our programming.
Did you have a sense back in the day, a pioneer sense, a television pioneer sense?
Yeah, because we were all making terrible mistakes and learning as we went along. And I suppose it was a tremendous training ground.
65 people worked at CJOH when it opened in 1961. One of them went on to become an international broadcast superstar.
This 8-piece living room suite can be yours for only $338.
Yes, that's the late Peter Jennings doing a furniture commercial. A humble beginning for the man who went on to become the face of ABC News in New York.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone.
Jennings and many others became stars because of the superstar technicians working behind the scenes.
I've asked one of our Channel 13 technicians come along with a few suggestions in terms that you and I can understand.
The Area B will require an outside antenna for good reception, such as this channel master antenna. Use of the fine-tuning control is most important. Using the fine-tuning control helps to tune out unwanted signals.
Austin Reeve was the fourth employee hired at CJOH. Here's what he had to say on the 20th anniversary of bringing a TV station to life.
We did shows out of there that we really, in retrospect, we probably had no business doing. We did it live, and it was a very, very interesting time. It's always an exciting time, breathing life into a television station, because you are building something new, and you're breathing life into a new television station. And this is a tower for the microwave dishes.
Today, Austin is still singing from the same songbook. He's amazed at how it started. He's amazed at what it's become.
You bring signals from all over the world by satellite. You can put 4 and 5 pictures on the screen at the same time and change standards from different countries to your standard. And you can do that in full color. We had trouble in black and white.
Several of the records heard on this program were broadcast by special permission.
50 years ago, legendary Ottawa radio personality Gord Atkinson thought he might end up on TV. He was a star at CFRA, known as the red-headed DJ Gord A.
Well, there was considerable competition for the license, as you can imagine. Mr. Bushnell, of course, had applied, and also the founder and general manager of CFRA, Frank Ryan, he had applied, and it was quite competitive, actually.
Until next week at this same time, when the blue of the night meets the gold of the day, this is Gord Atkinson.
Everybody on the programming staff of CFRA at that time was given the task of trying to come up with original programming for television.
In order to get the best reception from our new television service.
It was Ernie Bushnell, though, who won the prize. At the age of 60, the former CBC executive led the team that took the station to air right on schedule at 12 noon, March the 12th, 1961.
I don't know that it was precisely a deadline, but we were anxious to get started because sooner we got started, the sooner we would make a few dollars.
You know that Oogly is our little make-believe boy worm.
Still ahead,
Saturday Date is a fast-paced variety and participation show.
remembering some of the shows that marked 2 generations.
A boy who swims may say he swum, but milk is skimmed and seldom scum.
Of growing up in the capital.
It's time for Homegrown Cafe.
Over the last 50 years, CTV Ottawa has produced more than 150 shows. You'll remember some of the titles: Homegrown Cafe, The Amazing Kreskin, Willie and Floyd, Saturday Date, and of course, the news.
Fade up and QMax. Good evening, I'm Max Keeping. This is Newsline.
For 37 years, he was the face of news at CTV Ottawa.
After you've watched our 60-minute newscast at 6, you'll have all the information you need to make the decisions to carry you through your day.
A trusted storyteller.
$1.5 million, you are beautiful!
An unabashed cheerleader for the city he loves.
I think the news operation evolved to what people were looking for in their lives. As more and more people came to depend on television as a primary source of information, it was up to us to what is it that people want, and they wanted to know about their community. They wanted to know about the street in which they lived. They were concerned as to what are the values of the people who live here, so that we were reflecting that which was most important in their lives, to cheer in the triumphs, to grieve together in the losses. People expected us to be a reflection of the day-to-day in their lives.
And that has been the formula from day one.
According to the latest facts, Peter, Mr. Bushnell's station serves Canada's 5th largest market. Well, for someone who's grown up in this area, Baden, or at least spent a great deal of time here, I've probably been guilty of not noticing the tremendous changes. The Queensway, the new 4-lane key to Ottawa's transportation problems, bisects the capital.
As technology gave us the ability to do other things, it was local for us to have a CJOH crew at the Berlin Wall when it came down, and Carol Ann Meehan reported live from there.
I was 2 months onto the job when I got called into the office and he said, "You're going to Berlin." And I said, "I'm going where?" "The Berlin Wall is coming down." I said, "Yeah, that's not local." "No, you're going to put a local slant on it."
And it was still local news because the local news people were where it was happening.
And travel the region and the world we did.
This is Charlie Greenwell, CJOH News in Brussels.
It's a long way from the Hollywood Bowl to the hallways of this inner-city school in central Los Angeles.
It was Robert Louis Stevenson who wrote, "I travel not to go anywhere, but to go. I travel for travel's sake. The great affair is to move."
On Nightline tonight, Treasury Board decides to restrict...
Next to Max, no one has been on local television longer than Lee Chappell.
Joining me in the studio now for this week's Political Week in Review is...
She's reported, hosted Regional Contact, and anchored the 11:30 News for more than 30 years.
I think people relate to us like we are their family. We come into their homes night after night. We are part of their family.
Local news has been the one constant here at CTV over the last 50 years. But for many of those years, we were a major production house, pumping out shows for audiences here at home and right around the world.
It's time for Claim to Fame.
Cannot accept your paper of pins if that's the way your love begins.
Here's the host for Saturday Date, Dick Maloney.
Welcome to the amazing world of Kreskin.
The Wayne Rustad Special.
Bang, bang, you're alive!
Welcome to the morning show, the first of many, we trust.
Reunion 86.
Miss Ottawa Valley for 1978 is Shannon Tweed.
Country way, good old country way.
No variety show produced here made more money and was watched by more people than you can't do that on television.
The perennial favorite of children, and the show I always used to say that parents hated and children loved, which we produced locally for the first year as a kind of experiment. And then it was picked up by Nickelodeon in the United States, and they paid the entire production cost of it. It wasn't huge, but it was bigger than a local television station might have been able to afford. And as a result of their picking it up, we were able to carry it on for over 100 episodes, so it could be syndicated and distributed in several languages all over the world. So that was a bit of good luck, probably, as much as it might have been good planning.
By contrast, no show made less money than Miss Helen, despite a 10-year run.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm so glad we're together today.
Miss Helen used a marker and her imagination to tell stories about a boy worm named Oogly Woogly.
Well, because Oogly is make-believe, well, we can make him be happy.
But she wouldn't allow advertising on the show.
I wouldn't do that kind of thing because I wasn't there to sell cookies. I was there to hopefully sell children that would do the right things that I thought were right things for children to do.
And did you win that battle?
Yeah, I did win it. I didn't get much of a paycheck, but I won the battle, so that helped.
Miss Helen signed off in 1971.
And when you're good, you know what happens. You make
me proud.
Mr. Smith was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Fast forward to August the 1st, 1995, the darkest day in our station's history.
Good evening. Sportscaster, athlete, friend, Brian Smith died this afternoon.
Former NHLer and longtime CJOH sports director Brian Smith is gunned down outside our studios at 1500 Merivale Road.
There probably hasn't been anything more difficult for anyone in journalism than to report on the assassination of one of their own.
Then another devastating milestone, February the 7th, 2010.
The newsroom itself sustained heavy fire damage.
Fire destroys the building we've called home since September 1961.
Please allow me to say thank you.
And less than 2 months later, Max retires after more than 37 years on the anchor desk.
To make time to be important in the life of a child. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. What a great wish. Of course, Max Keeping is now our community ambassador here at CTV Ottawa. Max, what do you see as the major impact of CTV Ottawa over the last 50 years?
Michael, a lot of people forget the CTV national news began at CJOH, 1500 Merivale Road. So we helped shape a network. But most importantly for all of us, so we helped to shape the kind of communities in which we live. Mr. Bushnell had said from the beginning, the people who view the station should benefit from it. And I believe that we carried out his wishes in being a reflection of how people wanted their community to be, where children's health was the highest priority. So I think the greatest impact is we helped build the most caring community in all of Canada.
Hey Max, thanks for all you did for 37 of those 50 years.
My privilege.
When we come back, reaching out across the region. It's the little show that grew into a giant. Regional Contact tells the stories of amazing people and their passions. And who better to look back on that legacy than current hosts, Joel Haslam and Kathy Donovan.
Thanks so much, Mike. We sure are happy to be a part of this celebration tonight, and I have to say, pretty darn proud to have been a part of what we love to call heart and soul television for the past, Kath, almost 4 decades.
That's unbelievable. And then to consider the fact that you've been with the program for 23 seasons.
How lucky am I? You know, I was thinking the other day, that's really almost half of my life.
Wow.
How about you?
This is season 13 for me, and I tell you, I feel so honored to be part of the team, part of this impressive legacy of storytelling here on Regional Contact.
I'm Brooke McNabb.
Heart always wins.
I'm Bruce Page.
Hello, I'm Lee Green, and in just a minute we'll meet Gord Atkinson.
Welcome to another edition of Regional Contact. I'm Lee Chappell.
Hi, I'm Barbara Dundas. Well, it's that time of year again. I'm Kathy Cairns.
Hello, I'm Mark Van Dusen. And I'm Peter Van Dusen. We hope you and your family.
Regional Contact with Joel Haslam and Michelle Dubois.
It's a homespun show that started in 1973. Its focus, VIPs.
That's very interesting people from all walks of life, from all parts of the CTV viewing region.
Hello, this week on Regional Contact, Indian handicraft in Maniwaki, a salute to autumn, and Christmas is just 3 months away.
Despite the sunshine, it's about 20 degrees below zero in Marlborough, Ontario. And while that's cold for us, the mushers say it's just about perfect weather for Canada's first long-distance dog sled race.
Ever wonder how they get chips into the tiny necks of bottles? Well, so did I. Hi, I'm Lee Chappell. Stay tuned and we'll unlock one of the mysteries that has puzzled man for centuries.
I don't know, Mark. I don't much like the look of this town. Oh boy. Something about it, all right. It's quiet. Too quiet. Come on.
Regional Contact has always showcased the uncommon dreams of everyday folks.
And celebrated their passion for simple pleasures.
Ready on the right. Ready on the left. Ready behind. Fire in the hole.
People tell us all the time that we have the greatest jobs in the world, and you know what? They are right. Week after week, we're invited into people's homes, into their lives. Sometimes they feed us. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
Oh, Kath, they feed us a lot, and we laugh all the time as we celebrate their adventures and have a few of our own along the way.
Good God!
What a good friend.
Well, we certainly look forward to more wonderful adventures with you in the future.
And introducing you to more wonderful people.
Like our talented editor, Jerry Wall.
And our stellar cameraman, Peter Sperling.
Here's to another great 50 years at CTV Ottawa.
Thank you, guys. Well, that pretty much closes the door on the first 50. Our standard bearers heading into the next 50, 6 o'clock anchors, Caroline Meehan and Graham Richardson. Guys, some very interesting times ahead.
They really are, Mike. You know, a lot of people, it's difficult to keep track of all the changes in our industry and what's happening out there with internet and television. But there's some really simple truths about what happens here, and that hasn't changed a lot. We go out, we talk to you about your stories, and we put that on the air, and that's been the success over the last 50 years. And it's going to continue for the next 50 if anybody has anything to say about it around here.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that we love the most is when you come up to us and say, we feel we know you. That's just so rewarding because so many of us were born here. Others have chosen to live here. We're raising our children here, in some cases our grandkids. But we are your friends and your neighbors. Yes, the way we're delivering the news is changing. We're trying to keep up with a very fast-paced world. But what will always remain constant is our commitment to you.
You know, it takes an awful lot of people to put our programming to air every day.
There's a few of us here, but take a look at this. These are the salespeople, the producers, the writers, the managers, everyone, and it's quite a team.
It wouldn't mean anything, though, folks, if you didn't watch. Thank you for keeping us number one pretty much from the start.
And you know, we'll do our best to make sure not a whole lot changes as we begin the second half of our first century of serving you. Thank you. Good night.